Ariel Helwani recently shared his thoughts on the future of the welterweight division, particularly after Sean Brady's dominant submission win over former champion Leon Edwards. Rocky had never been finished before, making Brady's victory even more impressive. Now, fans are buzzing about a potential rematch between Brady and current champ Belal Muhammad. Since their first fight, Brady has bounced back strong, securing 3 consecutive wins, with his latest performance proving he's a real threat in the division. Helwani even drew a comparison to George St. Pierre, who lost his first title shot to Matt Hughes, but later returned, won the rematch, and claimed the belt. That being said, the welterweight division as stacked as it has ever been. The presence of dangerous contenders like Shavkat Rakhmonov, Joaquin Buckley, and Carlos Prates could delay Brady's title aspirations. Who do you think will come out on top in the highly anticipated title fight between Belal Muhammad and Jack Della Maddalena? Drop your predictions in the comments below.
Sean Brady is a different kind of wrestler. Like he mentioned in the post fight, what did he say? He was 195, 198.
Yeah.
On fight night, he
like
may be short, but he's so freaking strong.
Yeah.
Like he is pure American twisted steel. Listen, I would sign up right now for Sean Brady versus Belal too. I would sign up for that fight right now. I think that's a fantastic fight. And I know there's this fun narrative that like I don't give Belal his flowers. Belal was the guy who was getting screwed. He deserved to be a title contender way before they gave him the title shot. And he won that fight fair and square as far as July is concerned. Now, I did have questions regarding, the time difference and all that stuff. I own up to that. But now, like I said, that performance from Leon ages worse, and for Belal, it ages way better. And I was thinking if they do Sean Brady versus Shavkat as a #1 contender fight. Do you do Leon versus Ian?
Colby Covington discusses his next fight and weighs in on the highly anticipated middleweight title clash between Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus du Plessis, which is expected to be announced soon. Covington, who sees himself as the biggest star in the welterweight division, made it clear that he has no interest in fighting rising contenders. Instead, he wants a high-profile fight against a legend or former champion. Despite this, Colby didn't display the same drive to reach the top as he once did. Coming off a dominant doctor stoppage loss to Joaquin Buckley, he spoke less about his path back to the title and more about his political aspirations. Throughout the interview, it was evident that his main focus is no longer the UFC championship. He even admitted that he sees himself transitioning into politics in the future. With Covington and former champion Leon Edwards both coming off losses, would you fans be interested in seeing them run it back? While their first fight was one-sided in favor of Edwards, both fighters are now in a different position, making a potential rematch an interesting discussion.
I mean, anybody that has a big name, big fights, whatever the biggest and best fights that I can get done for the UFC, that's what I want to do, we got to see how things are going. There's a couple people that have been running my name through their mouth, so, they can get their mouth shut for sure, but I got to see what the UFC wants to do, and I want legacy fights, big fights, former champions, big high-level fights, not guys that are just coming up and just starting to build their name, because I've been here, I've done that. I'm a world champion. It doesn't matter what my ranking is. I'm the champion of the division. I'm the biggest draw and the biggest star in the division. So, anytime I fight, it's a championship fight. So
now Khamzat DDP, who do you think wins that bout?
I think DDP gets it done. I think his unorthodox style will surprise him. Hopefully, I think he's strong enough to fend off the takedowns, and Khamzat's never been in a 5-round fight. So, I think Khamzat, I think Khamzat gets beaten up.
Colby Covington recently revealed a wild and chaotic story involving UFC commentator and former fighter Paul Felder. According to Covington, the incident took place at Joint Base Langley, Eustis, where Felder got heavily drunk, lost control, and ended up handcuffed by military police to a toilet seat. Covington painted a vivid picture of the night, describing how Felder downed an entire bottle of Jack Daniels and then started aggressively talking trash to his own manager, Brian Butler. As things escalated, Covington claims he had to physically intervene, getting between Felder and Butler to prevent a full-blown fight. Despite his efforts, Felder was completely out of it, blacked out, unhinged, and showing zero restraint. The situation spiraled further when the military police got involved, ultimately restraining Felder in one of the most humiliating ways possible, cuffing him to a porcelain toilet. Covington, who says he had kept this story to himself for years, decided to share it in response to Felder's public criticism of him.
Ask him about the time we were at Joint Base Langley Eustis, the Army and Air Force Base, and he got tied fucking in handcuffs by the military police to a toilet in his bathroom because he was drunk on the base. Like, that's embarrassing, you self-loathing drunk asshole. He must be drunk half the time he's in that commentary booth for the UFC. Yeah, so he drank like a bottle of Jack Daniels to himself. He started talking shit to his manager, Brian Butler. I had to step in like, Paul, stop talking shit to him. Like, you're not gonna beat up your manager. He was blacked out and he just lost it. Like, how do you not have more control? You're supposed to show respect to the troops. Here you are trying to fight with your manager. I'm the one that had to intervene and make sure he didn't beat up his manager, Brian Butler, with sucker punch. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have a word, you know, like, I've kept that story close to my heart for a long time, and I was never going to share it. But when you start trying to trash my name in the media, who gets tied to a freaking porcelain toilet on a military base? You're supposed to be there respecting the troops, respecting the military. But no, you're there being a fucking drunk asshole. Ask Paul Felder about that story. That's a true story.
Michael Bisping suggests Ian Garry as the perfect opponent for Leon Edwards' return fight after UFC London. Following his one-sided loss to Sean Brady, Edwards finds himself at a crossroads. Bisping believes the former welterweight champion should take time for personal growth, but eventually return against a fellow striker for an exciting matchup. On Twitter, Bisping pointed to Ian Garry as the ideal choice, citing their past as teammates before their split. Garry, who recently suffered his first career loss to Shavkat Rakhmonov at UFC 310, put up a strong fight in a competitive 5-round battle. Unlike Edwards' loss, where Brady dominated him with relentless pressure and grappling, Garry held his own against Shavkat, showing solid striking and defensive grappling before ultimately falling short. Despite the loss, Garry has been vocal about his frustrations with the UFC's title picture, believing he should have been next for Belal Muhammad. A fight with Edwards would give him the opportunity to prove his case, while providing Edwards a chance to bounce back against a well-respected name in the division. During a recent Fight Companion livestream for UFC London, Joe Rogan weighed in on Ilia Topuria's move to lightweight, expressing doubt that the former featherweight champion would get an immediate title shot. Instead, Rogan suggested a matchup against Charles Oliveira, highlighting the Brazilian's height, reach, and overall danger in the division. He also pointed out the sheer size difference, noting that Islam Makhachev and other top lightweights are significantly bigger than Topuria. Quote, "I don't think that's happening. I wonder what they're gonna do with Topuria. I like Topuria versus Oliveira. Oliveira is so tall, so dangerous everywhere. Huge reach advantage. Those lightweights are real big. Islam's huge." End quote. That's it from MMA Psycho. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for daily MMA news.